Am I the asshole for dropping out of my SIL wedding party because I didn't want to cover up my tattoos? I, 25F, was set to be a bridesmaid for my SIL, 31F for her upcoming wedding. My SIL can be a control freak and has the tendency to set expectations that are pretty unrealistic / inconsiderate at times. As you would imagine, that would apply to what she would request of her bridesmaids for her wedding. I know people have differing opinions when it comes to bridesmaids' dresses, but I'm someone who follows the opinion that the bride should have final say as it is her day, especially if the bridesmaids' dresses are being paid for. However, regardless of who is paying, I also think brides should also be mindful that if they want everyone to wear the exact same dress, it would be respectful to check if everyone is comfortable with certain styles, especially if there are people in the group who might dress up a little more modestly. In this specific situation, all the bridesmaids had to pay, which I obviously didn't mind. Here's the thing, my SIL asked her 3 closest friends first and already decided on the same dress for everyone to wear together before she asked me. I had no expectation that she would ask me, so I had no idea what they picked. If there is one thing you should know is that I dress pretty modestly, especially at church since it's a church wedding. The dress they picked out was pushing my personal comfort level. It was a lilac chiffon one-shoulder floor length dress with a slit goes way above the knee, basically up to where most of my upper thigh would be exposed. I didn't want to make a big deal over it because they had already decided on it together, and since it's what my SIL really wanted, I kept my concern to myself. I low-key wish we all decided together, especially since there were 3 more people, including myself, that were not asked to be bridesmaids till after. Even though the dress wasn't within my modesty standards, I still decided to go along with it because I didn't want drama and just wanted to make her happy. My plan was to change after the festivities during the reception, which a couple more bridesmaids planned already to do so as well, and my SIL didn't mind. I thought things were going to be okay until my SIL told me last week that she didn't want my tattoos to be noticeable and wanted them covered as it would be inappropriate in church, and didn't want them in the pictures. I'm tatted on my wrists, shoulders, and on the back. The tattoos on my shoulders and back are not small pieces and are very noticeable with the dress that was picked out. She told me that she's been concerned about them showing because of the dress. And keep in mind, she knows about my tattoos and the dress was still picked knowing they would show. I was annoyed, but since I already paid for the dress, Elle asked if I could wear a shawl, and she said no because she didn't want me to stand out from the rest of the group, especially since I'm not the MOH. She suggested this foundation that covers tattoos, which was $40 / $50-ish. I'm not going to spend that much on a foundation I'm not going to use again. Plus, there's a chance it will get on my dress and make a mess. I told her I didn't think it was fair to expect this when she knows I have tattoos and still picked a dress that will still have them show. If she had a problem, why pick something without sleeves or ask me to be a bridesmaid if she was going to be adamant about the style knowing she didn't want my tattoos being visible? She said I was being unfair and that it was her day and all she is asking for me to accommodate and that it would not look good for a Catholic wedding. When she said that, I got mad because it's always the people who start with the religious guilt don't even follow their faith and are quick to judge. My SIL literally has done and continues to do everything in the book that would be not okay for a practicing Catholic to do, but I never judge her because I have a past too and still struggle. Yet, for her to say it would not be appropriate for a Catholic wedding is just hypocritical and made me feeling like I was going to make it unholy somehow over them. I got tatted when I walked away from my faith, but I came back to it and I'm pretty devout now despite my struggles with my shortcomings. For her to say I'm not accommodating is just beyond me because she already knows how I dress now, especially in a church setting. I even cover my hair at church. And I still push my convictions and preferences aside and wear this for her because I wanted to keep the peace and not make a fuss. When I told her all of this, she started making comments about how I'm being selfish for not putting on the foundation and then proceeded to say that dress looks trashy on me anyways because of my body. I'm on the curvy side and unfortunately have a large chest, so certain styles will make me look bigger and emphasize my chest. And that's what the dress did to me. Not trying to brag. I personally don't like it, hence why I'm mindful of how I dress, but it's unlike it's in my control as to how the dress would fit and look on me, but it's overall why I prefer to be more covered. I just ended the conversation with if it's going to continue as an issue. I didn't want to trouble her further and would rather she pick someone else because we can't see eye to eye. I feel bad for dropping, but her wedding is not for 5 months, and I just think it's for the best I'm no longer part of the bridal party. Update. I was debating whether or not to post this, but since a decent amount of you asked and wanted to know, I decided that I might as well spill the tea for all of you equally chismoso people like myself. For those that are new, click the link to read my initial post for some context to this post. Anyways, before I dive into my husband confronting her, I should provide some background on my overall experience with my relationship with my SIL. In beginning of my initial post, I talked about how she has the tendency to be controlling and set very unrealistic expectations that can influence the way she treats other people. Let me make one thing clear. She and I were very close at one point, or so I thought, and I treated her like my own older sister that she has even seen me at some of my worst moments since I've been with her brother, but even then, I knew about her toxic behaviors, but part of me always prayed she'll grow and do better with time. Almost 7 years later, and she clearly proves me wrong every time. In the years I've known her, I've noticed how she does pride herself as being the favorite child between her, my husband, and their brother. I didn't grow up with my half-siblings and grew up very much an only child, so I never really understood the dynamics between siblings and the competitiveness between them for parental approval and praise. TBH, my husband and his brother don't really take any of it to heart or see anything as a competition, but their sister does. Any given opportunity, she finds a way to make remarks about how she is the favorite, and which among them is the least favorite among the three of them. I initially saw it as joking and typical sibling banter, but as time went on, it would irritate me. It especially doesn't help when I notice that my in-laws don't even realize they play favorite/enable her BS. For example, if my SIL makes an out-pocket remark or comment at family gatherings. You know, comments that earn you a smack if you had the nerve to say it to the wrong person, and they never say anything to her, but heaven forbid my husband or his brother make a joke about something. They get worked up. It's clear because they're not treated equally. She really does think she can act however she wants. Not going to get into detail, but she has done things in the past that only prove that as long as things are going in her favor in regards to her parents' approval, they are very religious people for context. She has no problem outing or screwing over her brothers. My husband has kept a lot of her dirty secrets, and in a moment of vulnerability where he trusted her, she turns around and tells my in-laws everything, so she can look like the older sibling who cares enough to tell their parents what is going on with him, even though she has done worse that would piss off my in-laws. You might be asking, why not say anything to them as payback? My husband and I are the type of people who also don't think stooping to her level won't achieve anything. Essentially, they're not my secrets to tell because that's between her and God and whether or not she will ever come clean to their folks. Overall, that alone really changed my husband's view of his sister because it showed how selfish she is, and of course, he felt betrayed even though this specific occurrence happened almost 6 years ago. He forgave but never forgot. Since then, and just over the time that I've been with my husband, everything she says and does just don't go unnoticed. I know some of you guys may ask why let it drag, and well, if she is ever confronted for something she did wrong, she always finds ways to make herself the victim and gets the whole family involved, so you'd be talking to a wall of nonsense and excuses. We just learned to just set boundaries, especially when it comes to family functions at this point. I guess my SIL sees through her BS, but doesn't exhaust himself to confront her because my MIL is overprotective of her even when she knows her daughter can act very inappropriately. From what I see, MIL gets like that because SIL has ran away and temporarily cut ties with them when things don't go her way, and I get it she wouldn't want to have a strained relationship with her daughter, but still. So imagine how angry my husband is because he's already been holding it in with his frustrations with his sister and knowing how passive his parents have become when it comes to her. Well, when he confronted her via FaceTime, he obviously came to my defense and told her that she is being unreasonable and unfair. And well, cussed her out because she kept making all kinds of excuses, and he basically handed her ass back to her. He didn't just leave it at regarding the wedding. He called her out on everything, and something she also said about to me to other family that we were not made aware of till a few hours before he called her. Turns out she was going around talking about the whole dress and tattoo situation, and me dropping from the bridal party to some family members, one of which recorded what she was saying and sent it to my husband. Then she went off on a tangent talking about how his brother can do so much better than me and how she feels so sorry for her baby brother because I'm so lazy and won't help him financially. Basically referring to how my husband is supporting us while I'm in school full-time. Keep in mind, I'm in medical school. Working part-time is not even an option for most med students. My husband went off on her about that, and why our marriage and decisions in it bother her that much to bring it up. My husband's traditional and believes that he as a man should provide regardless of whether or not I choose to work. He decided he wanted to support us so I can follow my dream to pursue medicine, and that bothers her enough to downplay me as a lazy freeloader when my career will eventually provide with more stability for us down the line. Regardless of how anyone looks at this, what her issues are, but targeting me just doesn't make any sense. After 30 minutes of yelling and hearing her fake cry her, "I'm sorry, but my husband told her since her wedding day is family event, he'll still participate out of obligation, and I will be guest, but to consider that to be the last time we will ever be involved in something that involves her. We're only planning to stay for the wedding mass, and we'll leave right after dinner. Free food IDC. That's all. I know at this point why still attend, but my husband is also good friends with her fiancé and is a groomsman, and it wouldn't feel right to drop on him just because my SIL is crazy. However, my husband gave her an ultimatum that if he finds out she pulls similar crap again between now and the wedding, then we won't go to the wedding altogether. Going forward after said wedding, or if she decides to open her mouth again, my husband decided we won't contact them or see them again, which it makes it easy since they will be moving to a different state. I'm counting down the days. LOL. If there's something I want to make clear here at the end of my post, is that I do not wish her anything bad, nor do I hate her. I do forgive her, however, for my mental and emotional health. I just won't maintain a relationship with her of any kind going forward. I do genuinely pray she grows and learns from all of this and makes better choices if she has kids one day. I also hope she questions if this toxicity was worth losing a relationship with her brother.